Hi everyone, welcome to Cupboard Creations. My name is Gareth and this is my little corner of the internet for playing with my food. Today we're doing something nice, quick, simple, a soup. I mean, you can't get much simpler than a soup. So I came up with this the other day just because I had a butternut squash and it was the largest thing I've ever seen. One half of it weighed the same as this. So we used half of it in a meal and I didn't know what to do with the rest, and I thought, let's try and do a bit of a soup, put some spices in it, really get something nice and warming. So this is it. This is my spiced butternut squash and carrot soup. So we get cracking and we do it nice and simple. Start with your onion. You always want an onion. You want one large one, it's quite a lot. We'll just chop that down. I mean, you're going to blend everything. It's a soup, so you don't need to be too careful about dicing it to particular sizes. Okay, so that's all done. That's my large mountain of onion. Now we're just going to whack that over onto the hob and just start sweating it down for a bit. So I'll take you over there. Okay, so we're just bringing that up to the heat. A little bit of vegetable oil in there. Just about a tablespoon or so. And then we can chuck in our onions. Lid on those, we just sweat them down about 8 to 10 minutes. And while we're doing that, we can prep all of the rest of the veg. Just going to do this in order of when I'm going to put it in the pan to make things easy. So we're just going to start off with 2 cloves of garlic. So we've got kind of 3 here because one of them seems to be one of those ones that comes in 2 bits. But we're just going to chop these up. Again, same as we did with the onions, we don't need to be too careful about the sizes. We're just going to chop them up, we're going to blitz it all down. Okay, so there's my garlic. Now, our carrots. So we can use 250 grams of carrots in this, which for me is this one enormous one. And I just think that carrot, it holds really nicely with the butternut squash. You wouldn't say it adds sweetness because the butternut squash is fairly sweet. You just get some kind of extra flavour in there that kind of brings it together with the spice. Just chop a little bit ends off. And then we're just going to cut that into reasonably sized chunks. I'm going to cut it in half lengthways. And then just chunk that down. So that's my carrot. So we'll get that out of the way, just shove it on another board because I'm definitely going to run out of room. Now the butternut squash. These things can be an absolute terror to cut through, so be prepared to watch me struggle. The joys of a nice sharp knife. There we go. Now, just going to grab ourselves a spoon. We can spoon the insides of these out, which we're not going to use. Give it a quick peel and chop it up. So yeah, when we're de-seeding it, we just need, grab yourself a spoon and just kind of scrape that out. Okay, so here's something I just learned while doing this. Trying to get the old peel off. It can be a real tough one with these. But that little hole in the back, if you take the seeds out first, really good handhold. Allows you to really get some grip on it. There you go, made that process so much easier. Right, so we're all peeled. Now, just like the carrots, just want to chop it up into chunks. So I'm going with about 2 centimetre chunks, should do it. Right, so that's all chopped down. Barely any room left on my board. Thankfully, that is the last thing we need to be chopping. Well, the last thing I need to be chopping. For you, I'm going to put a red chilli in this, just because I want some of that heat. Now, if you're using big chilies, just chop them down a little bit. For me, I'm using just one of these tiny little ones that I've grown, which are enough trust me. So we'll leave that there. We can now head over the hot and start putting all of that great flavour together. Right, so our onions are now nicely sweated down. Got a very slight kind of brownness to them, but nothing major. So we're just going to chuck in our garlic. Now we're going to add our spices. So we're going to make this nice and simple. So we want 1 teaspoon of ground cumin. We want 1 teaspoon of ground coriander, like so. 1 teaspoon of ginger, ground ginger, like that. And then we're just going to chuck in our chillies. So my tiny little one goes in there. Just give that all a stir around, and what that will do is you'll coat all those onions and the garlic, and that will just really help get all of those spices throughout the veg. And we're just going to let that just sit on the heat, soften the garlic just for a couple of minutes, about 3 minutes. And you'll also just get more of that fragrance then of all of those spices. It comes a really kind of lovely, potent mix. Right, so that's all had its 3 minutes. The smells, like I said, have just popped out. The whole place just smells fantastic. So now, you're just going to grab all your veg, quite simply, chuck it all in. Trying to not throw it all over the side. Oh, of course. You will need quite a big pot for this. I'm only just fitting that in there. So veg goes in, and now add your stock. So you want a litre of vegetable stock. So I've had to do this in 2. And of course I pour a bit all over the side. One day it'll work. There we go. And that is chopper. Full to the brim almost. So we're just going to turn the heat up on that. Get that up to a simmer. Once that veg starts to kind of soften and go down, you'll reduce down a little bit. Just going to whack the heat on there. I'm just going to simmer it away for 20 minutes. That should be enough time to kind of get all that butternut squash cooked so it's nice and soft. And then all we have to do is whiz it up and we've got a perfect soup. So I'll leave that there for 20 and come back to you then. Right, so here we go. 20 minutes of simmering later. And we have, hopefully, our cooked vegetables. There we are, so you can see even the largest lumps there, we can just push the spoon right through. Perfect. Just turn that off now. That's all ready to go. Now we just got to whiz it up. So, you might be asking yourself at this moment, did he wear this jumper on purpose because of the colour of the soup? The answer is yes, because this can go pretty much everywhere, especially when you're as close to the top as this is. So if you're brave, go for it. If unlike, like me, you're not brave, find yourself a very fetching apron, because this could get messy. What do you reckon? Good luck? Oh, I quite like it. Right, stick whizzer. Now you can do this by hand with one of these kind of masher, but I just want my soup to be really smooth, so I'm just going to give it a go. Wish me luck. It was going to happen, wasn't it? Lucky I put the apron on. Right, so there we go. That is nice and smooth. Perfect. Yeah, so I'm liking the smoothness of that. Just would like it a little bit thicker. But what we've got to do at this point is seasoning. With any soup, it's the salt and stuff like that that really kind of brings out the flavours. So we're just going to give it a little taste. Yes, love it. That's really good. That it's got all those flavours are coming through. It just, like I say, it just is missing that little bit of kind of edge that we'll get from the salt. So I'm going to put in a good pinch of salt into this. And then we're just going to stick in a couple of turns of black pepper. Give that a bit of a stir around. I am so glad I wore this apron. Yeah, instantly you get that. Yeah, the flavours just come so much more alive. Good pinch of salt will just raise everything up. So, just now want it a little bit thicker. So we're just going to turn the heat on and just let that simmer away, probably for about 5 minutes till it's at that desired thickness. So I'll leave that going and I'll show you when it's all ready. Okay, that is now been going for 5 minutes. And we've just got a much better consistency to it. So there it is, really nice and smooth. Turn that off. The bubbles will change, so you'll get like really small bubbles at the start, and then as you're simmering it, they'll just get bigger and you'll just start seeing stuff flying everywhere. And one of these is really useful. So that's it, your soup is done. All ready to eat. Just grab yourself a decent amount, just get cracking with it. And say this will easily serve 4 people, 4 very hungry people. You'll get 6 quite easily out of this for a nice lunch portion. Okay, so I'm off to enjoy it before I have to spend the next half hour cleaning up the hob top. So I hope you give it a go. I hope you enjoy it. It's great on a winter's night, or just, you know, for lunch. It just brings so much kind of depth of flavour and spice. Fantastic soup. I love it. So best of luck, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.